God's probably called you to be in a season where you are working on yourself, but you feel so lonely that you keep dibbling and dabbling in relationships. You're never going to reach the potential that God called you to reach if you're continuously putting your effort into someone else rather than putting that same effort into you first.
Let's stand together wherever you go, I'm going. When no one's left, I no need to be stressed, you'll be right there. You keep on pouring and it's overflowing your blessings. You saw me love, thought it didn't exist, but it's right.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Destiny Alexis, back with another video. Welcome back to my channel. Here is where I motivate women to live their full potential in life and in business. Okay, girl, so this video is all about how to heal from a traumatic breakup and heal your heartbreak. Now listen, we've all been in situations where we've been treated unfairly and we ended up leaving these relationships feeling less than ourselves. If you are someone who's experienced a traumatic heartbreak or a traumatic breakup, then this video is perfect for you because I'm gonna tell you my tips on how to heal your heart from heartbreak. These are tips that I've used in my own life to heal from my own past traumas or past heartbreaks so that I could become all that God has called me to be. So sis, let's get into the video. Number one, the first thing I would tell you is to learn your worth. That way you don't keep repeating the same things. The reason why I say this is super important is because oftentimes when we're in these relationships, these people will tell us over and over and over again that they're planning to change when they have no plans to change at all. And what that does is it makes you believe in them, but the truth is you don't believe enough in yourself to say that you're worth more than what they're giving. We sometimes tend to believe more in them than we believe in ourselves, and we stay longer than we're supposed to, which in turn results in us getting more and more and more hurt. And the more hurt that you obtain, the more likely you're to feel like there's nobody out there for you and that that's all that you deserve. And the truth is you deserve so much more, and God is waiting for you to realize that He has called you to be more and to do more. And that is going to require you to leave that relationship alone. What I was getting in certain relationships was not worth my time. And that's not to say it in a way of I'm better than this or I'm better than that, because that's not the case. It's just people grow at their own pace, and not all the time are people willing to even grow with you. And sometimes that's a hard truth that you have to identify and realize in order for you to go ahead and move on from that relationship. That person is holding you back from reaching your full potential, and God is calling you to do more, which is going to require you to leave some things behind, including some of the people that you've been dealing with. Number two, I would say to learn how to set boundaries. And the reason why this is so important is because time and time again, we go through relationships thinking that we have it all together, but we never really spent time in these gaps of being single where we realize what we really want out of a relationship to begin with. And that really requires you to do some real self-realization where you sit down and you think about, what do I like in a person? What do I like in a man? What am I looking for? What is going to uplift me or motivate me? What certain qualities can a person bring to the table that I possibly don't already have that can sharpen me and make me better? There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about iron sharpens iron. Sometimes when you're around certain people, you can start going dull. Instead of sharpening you, they make you more dull. They make you less than yourself. They make you feel like you're not worth it. And the truth is you actually are. You're just not using yourself to your fullest potential. And the hardest part is sometimes to hear that the relationships that we're in are not serving us in the first place. You're noticing that when you're talking to this person, they're making you feel less than yourself. They're saying things that are degrading to you. Maybe you've set certain standards for yourself and these people are trying to break those standards or trying to make you do things that you aren't really trying to do in these situations or these relationships. You have to take those signs and understand that nothing you can do and nothing you're gonna say is going to change their mindset. If they've already came with the intentions to get something out of this, then either you're gonna give in or they're gonna move on. And it's better for them to go ahead and move on rather than you giving up yourself to someone who really doesn't even care about you, doesn't want really anything long term with you, and it's just not worth it. I wish I would have learned more about my self-worth and learned more about my self-value, because I should not be going after a man. I should not be chasing after a man. Those are not qualities that are of a long-lasting relationship. If I have to chase you, if I have to make you see my worth, if I have to tell you why you should want to be in a relationship with me, if you don't see that yourself, we don't need to be dealing with each other. We don't need to be in a relationship. And learning your worth is super important. And once you learn your worth, no one can come around and tell you anything outside of that. Oftentimes when we're in these relationships, we're fearful to leave because we're afraid of what's to come. And we think that sometimes what's to come might be worse than what we already have. Maybe this person has told you time and time again, you're never gonna find better. You're never gonna find someone who's gonna treat you better than me. People are gonna treat you worse than me, whatever it is. And they're trying to put fear into your heart. When they do this, it's because they're insecure and they feel like they know they've been treating you wrong. They know that they haven't been treating you right. So 10 times out of 10, what God has for you is going to be better. And so if you realize that, and when they tell you these things and they're trying to put fear in your heart, that should be a clear indication that they're not treating you the way that they should be treating you. I want you to know it's time for you to get excited about life again because better is on the way. That doesn't mean that it's coming literally the next day, immediately after this relationship. That's not necessarily the case because God will put you through situations for you to grow into the person that you need to become, for you to develop new skills, for you to understand new things about yourself. Personally, certain relationships I've been in have taught me how to love myself more. It has taught me how to set certain boundaries, how to know what not to do going forward. And so I appreciate everything that I've ever gone through, and you should do the same. When you leave this relationship, you're gonna leave better than you were when you were in it. And I know it's hard to believe that, and it's hard to hear that in the moment. Maybe people tell you all the time that you'd be so much better off without them, but it's hard for you to believe that. Trust me, I get it. I remember being so fearful of leaving this particular relationship. I was so scared because I remember being told that I was never gonna find better. I was like, okay, well, you should just stay in this relationship. You should just put up with this because you know you're not gonna find better. And that was just a lie from the devil. Like literally, it was such a lie. If I would have known, I would have left sooner. That's how hard it is to believe in the moment, but it is so important that you try to start believing that you can and you will obtain better. It's so naive to think that you can be the vessel to make someone want to change for you. And the truth is, if they're not changing on their own, they're never going to change for you. And it's hard to understand that at times. And I know sometimes we think that we're so convincing, or we think that we have all the qualities. You probably do. The problem is they don't see them, and you're not going to make them see them for you. I'm trying to convince this person, okay? You have to build yourself back up, and it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time for you to literally say, okay, I'm done with this situation. I'm done with this relationship. It's all about me, and I'm gonna focus on me. I'm gonna focus on building me back up again. I'm gonna focus on getting my life on track. The time I felt like I lost, I'm gonna dial in for the next 6 months, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to make myself feel better about me again. It's hard to leave sometimes. That's why you have to be so set on being done and cutting ties completely. Because oftentimes we'll be trying to leave relationships, but we'll have one foot in and one foot out. We'll have hope that they'll eventually change. So if we're working on ourselves, it doesn't feel as bad because we hope that they'll see the effort we're doing over here. They'll see us living life. They'll see us on our new ventures, our new journey. But I still have one foot in just in case they decide they want to still be with me. Just in case they decide they want to change. And that's something you're going to have to lose. You can't be one foot out and one foot in. You can't expect to see God really transform your life if you're still holding on to the thought of what if. Because what God says is, bad company corrupts good character. If you're in a situation or a relationship where this person is dragging you and they're bringing you down and they're making you feel less than yourself, you'll start becoming less of the person that you know that God's called you to be. Why would you put yourself through something you're not even putting yourself through personally? If I'm not making myself feel less than myself, why would I let someone else do it to me? If I'm not talking low and down about myself, why would I let somebody else do it to me? Someone who's supposed to love me, someone who's supposed to be there, someone who's supposed to uplift me. If I really looked at the relationship I was in, none of those qualities that this person had, or none of the things that I was experiencing was of someone who was supposed to be a husband. It was nowhere near of someone who really cared for me or loved me at all. And so if you're questioning, does a person love you? If you're questioning if this person is for you, if you're asking God to send you a sign, God has told you time and time again, He has allowed certain things to happen for you to realize and identify this is not the relationship for you. You should still know yourself and know your worth. Just because you get in a relationship does not mean that you fade away into the background and that your life becomes all about this person. The next thing I want you to do when you decide to heal from the toxic breakup is to set goals for yourself. And the reason why it's super important is because you have to have something you're looking forward to. And you can't just be looking forward to another relationship. That's not gonna work. You have to be setting goals and consistently set goals for yourself, because you're gonna have to work towards something. And as you work towards something, you're gonna start developing yourself and developing new skills and becoming a different version of yourself that you never even thought was possible. When I was in the traumatic relationship and I ended up leaving, first of all, I dropped out of school, right? Because of this relationship. I stopped doing what I loved. I remember this person told me that I would never do anything nail related, that I would work at a daycare because I'm good with kids. I end up leaving the relationship and I set a goal to go ahead and finish school. And it was so important and it was such an essential thing for me to do, because that's something that you couldn't take away from me. That's something that you told me I couldn't do, and I went ahead and did it anyway, because I know myself. And although I lost myself, I still knew that I had value and I had certain things that I wanted to obtain for me. And that was something that person could not take away. And so you have to set goals and have goals that you're working towards consistently, because one thing will lead to the next thing, will lead to the next thing, and it'll put you exactly where God's called you to be. The next thing I would say is to pray and ask for healing so you don't become bitter. God's probably called you to be in a season where you are working on yourself, but you feel so lonely that you keep dibbling and dabbling in relationships. You're never going to reach the potential that God called you to reach if you're continuously putting your effort into someone else rather than putting that same effort into you first. It's the same amount of effort you're putting in somewhere else. Imagine if you put that same effort into yourself. And it's important for you to think about that, because sometimes we get so caught up in healing that we think that means moving on. And that's not true. Think about all of the different things that you've gone through in this situation, all of the different ways that you were spoken to, all of the different things that you kind of held on to. And when you've come to a point where those things no longer bother you, that's how I think that you know that you're healed from a traumatic relationship. So when you come to God and you pray and you ask for healing and you ask for Him to direct you and to guide you, and if there's anything that you're holding on to in your heart, ask Him to remove it, ask Him to get it off of you, to get it away from you. If there's any type of grudge that you're holding on to, ask God to heal you, because you can eventually become bitter if you've been in relationship after relationship after relationship that has been less than successful or less than uplifting, and you're gonna have to do some healing. And it's important for you to do that so you don't become bitter, because when you get into a space where you no longer love, where you no longer think that love is possible for you, when you hate every man that's walking, that's not a sign of God. God is love, and God called us to love everyone, even the people that have hurt us, even the people that have done things to us. God is going to use that situation to glorify Him, and He has. The same way I can sit here and talk about my traumatic breakup, my traumatic experiences, is the same way that one of you is going to relate to this story, and you're going to realize God's called you to more. And it's okay to understand that. It's okay to be lost right now. It's okay to be fearful. If you recently left a relationship, or if you're in that phase where you're trying to figure out what to do with your life after a traumatic heartbreak, listen, coming from someone who went through it, you're going to be questioning, how long do I have to be in this phase of life? When is this going to get better? When am I going to heal? When am I going to stop crying? It all comes in time. And trust me, I used to hear people tell me, you're gonna be fine, it's gonna be okay, don't worry about it. I didn't want to hear that. I just wanted to know the day that I was gonna be good so that I could be good already, right? But it's okay for you to not know the day that you're gonna be okay, because it's coming soon. It's gonna come eventually. And trust me, when you heal from this relationship, when you heal from the traumatic experiences, when you let your heart heal and you let God work through you, He is going to give you the right person at the right appointed time. The last thing I would say to keep you on track while you're going on your journey to heal is when you say that you're done, make sure that you're done. The more that you continue to dibble and dabble in these type of relationships is the more that you're holding yourself back from what God has called you to do and who He has called you to become. You can't say that you want better if you're not doing better. You can't say that you want a better relationship if you are constantly going after the same type of individuals, expecting different results. I encourage you to write a list to get more familiar and more clear about your boundaries, to set certain boundaries in your relationship, in your life, and to hold yourself to a higher standard. You know, if you're a woman of God, you know what God has called you to do. You know who He has called you to be. You know how He has called you to carry yourself. So I encourage you to pray and ask God to heal your heart so that you don't become bitter. I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that you took something out of it. And I hope that you can learn how to heal from your heartbreak or from your traumatic relationship, that you can become all that God called you to be. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment your favorite part below, and I'll see you in the next video.
It's been a minute since I called. Had to stop trusting my gut.